Hey there, this is Pete Buchwald, and I want to share a couple of videos with you on the topic of resources for songwriters. This first video is going to be an overview of all kinds of resources. Resources for just kind of getting fresh ideas in your brain and ideas all the way to ideas of song pitching on the other end after the songs are written. The second video I want to make, I'm going to go into my computer and kind of show you some resources, some virtual instruments. It's kind of be the main tour, but some other things as well possibly. So this first video is going to kind of be an overview and just going to kind of rattle through these. If you miss something, you can always pause the video and stop and go back and stuff like that. I'm going to try to get going quickly here. All right, let's just get going. So in this first, this is a video for a class, and this first part is going to contain these things. And then for this lecture series, for these people, there's going to be a second part, and that's going to be using your computer for sequencing, an introduction to sequencing. So part one just refers to these 8 things that we'll talk about here. So listening resources, pitching resources, lyric resources, co-writing resources online and computers, sonic resources, meaning virtual instruments. Number 6, musical resources for the non-musical. So if you're a songwriter and you can't play an instrument, how can you use the computer to virtually play instruments and things like that? Number 7, demo studios for creating basic or full productions of a song idea. And number 8, your resources. On YouTube, I'm going to ask that you leave your comments down below so we can all benefit from the things you found to be helpful. And on songu.com, please see our forum, our home recording forum, our discussion group, and see the resources thread there, and please put your resource ideas in the thread. All right, let's get going. Just about me, I am an audio instructor at 2 colleges in the Denver area. I also have a home studio just north of town, and I set up the studio to record and to produce and write songs, and I also end up producing other people as well. Some of my latest productions, there's some of my self-titled productions and some other things I've been involved with. Let's get right into it. They say that a songwriter, in order to be a writer, you also have to kind of be intaking music, and to be a writer of books, you have to be a reader of books. And so in order for us to kind of keep our minds open and to get new input, there's some amazing resources. A lot of us have heard of Pandora, and one thing I discovered recently about Pandora is that, come on, where are you? Sorry about that. I discovered that there's genre stations you can create, or preset genre stations. So if you pull that up, if you like country music, you pull that up, it's going to generate some of the top songs in that genre. And so that's a great way to kind of do, I think it's a great way for a songwriter to do listening, to go a little broader rather than just a specific artist. Even if you like to write contemporary worship songs like Chris Tomlin, it's great to do that. But in that case, maybe you could say I bet there's today's worship or today's church. I don't know. There's got a Christian. I bet there's today's Christian music. I'm just striking out. I know there's got to be a station like that. So that just to say, keep in mind in Pandora you can go with a little broader categories than just an artist or a song. Let's get back into this. iTunes Genius is a similar feature within iTunes. If you use that, the Genius application or plug-in, whatever it is within iTunes, it makes you sign some paperwork and things like that, but and I don't know, you have to give your credit card information and stuff like that, but to the best of my knowledge and all my research, Genius is free. Grooveshark, when I go to a lot of songwriting circles, and there's a couple that I have been a part of leadership sometimes, Grooveshark is something that some people don't know about. Now, Grooveshark, you can stream any song, any popular song or album for free. So this is a great resource for songwriters, both for listening and sometimes in the middle of a co-write, a co-writer and I will start talking about a song, and this is a quick way to take a listen to that song. So keep grooveshark.com in mind. Now Spotify, there's a bit of a learning curve with Spotify. I still can't wrap my brain around it. But Spotify seems to be the holy grail of music listening. It combines all the MP3s you purchased with cloud technology, so you can listen to things that are in your library or on the internet, and it's free or paid for by advertising. There's plans where you can pay money and get less advertising and things like that. But Spotify, a lot of people seem to be really excited about that. If you're on Facebook.com, keep in mind that Spotify, some of the presets, I think people will see what you're listening to, but there's ways for you to set up the preferences so that people will not be seeing the music you're listening to, and they won't get notifications every time you buy something or listen to something new, etc. So a lot of great resources for listening to music these days. On the other end of the spectrum, once the songs are written, what do we do with them if we have a good idea? On songu.com, I have found that the most direct and helpful song pitching opportunity. Once you're a member, you have opportunities to pitch songs to all kinds of people on all kinds of levels, professional, top artists. There's pitches for them, and there's pitches for new artists and things like that. On nsai.com, or I guess it's Nashville Songwriters Association International. There's some opportunities for song evaluation, and some of the stronger songs that they find within a given 6 months or every quarter, something like that, they get forwarded to a panel of music publishers, and so you have an opportunity for exposure through NSAI if you're a member of that community. A couple of free things, Music X-Ray. Sometimes those pitches cost $3 or $4, but still it can be to big artists. I'm not very familiar with Sonic Bids, but it seems like some of my friends try to do this type of pitching through sonicbids.com. Finally, Indaba Music. It's a music collaboration website, but I believe there's also song pitching opportunities there as well. If you write music and want to have your music considered for television, film, commercials, etc., there's a lot of online libraries. I think the operative word you want to look for in all the legal documentation, one of the things you want to keep an eye out for anyway, is the exclusive clause. Are you allowed to post your songs on multiple websites, or do they want you to only post your songs on their website? And so be aware of that. To the best of my knowledge, the first two here, Pump Audio and Audio Sparks, are non-exclusive. You're able to post your music there and on both of those sites, and perhaps some of the others. I just heard about Secret Road yesterday as a songwriter was visiting campus. And also I know some people have good experiences with Taxi. It's a paid membership. And some people don't have very good things to say about Taxi. I don't have any personal first-hand experience with it. It's my opinion that if you're writing good music, you can find other ways to get it out there with some of the free libraries mentioned above. I should mention that with Pump Audio and Audio Sparks, it appears that they take a percentage, that they're willing to post your songs and make them available to major projects, and you don't have to pay anything to get them be in the catalog. They may have to pass an audition process, but if they get picked up hypothetically by CBS or some big commercial, then they will take a percentage of that. I know what I just described is particularly true with Pump Audio. All right, social networking. American Song Space is sponsored by American Songwriter magazine, and it's an opportunity for you to make a page and to point people to it. And SoundCloud.com. I like SoundCloud because it integrates really well with Facebook. So if you start up a SoundCloud page and start making friends, anytime you post a song, your community, they kind of get it in their feed on SoundCloud. They can see who has the newest stuff on their page. A lot of us are probably members of Facebook, but just keep it in mind that SoundCloud and Facebook integrate well, and all your friends on Facebook, you have the ability to point them to a new song on SoundCloud. Even though YouTube is probably thought of as a video archive, consider it a social networking opportunity. YouTube is it's a huge resource. You can get fans and people who subscribe to, and we'll get notified every time you put up a video. It's easy to send a link onto Facebook and other social networking sites. So consider finding ways to create simple videos of your song, whether that just be you and singing into a laptop, or if you have friends with a couple of decent video cameras and you can do something a little more high-end production, it could be well worth your time as far as publicizing your music. ccmni.com is a social networking site particularly for Christian songwriters. That's a genre I often will work in, and it's pretty much a Facebook for Christian songwriters. Lyric resources. RhymeZone can be a helpful website. It's an online thesaurus. The MasterWriter software can be helpful for writing songs. It has a lot of things built in, a rhyming dictionary. And I can't even go into everything it offers. You can download MasterWriter and test drive it for a month for free, and they have some great promo videos on their website. You can see everything that the MasterWriter software does. Songname.net is just kind of a fun thing I wanted to show you. It's partially for humor, but I don't know. You never know, something interesting could come out of this. Here's a couple of websites I mentioned: Pump Audio, RhymeZone. Here's MasterWriter. So here's the one I was just the songname.net. If I refresh this, it's gonna generate random song titles over here on the left. So a lot of them are just crazy weird, but I don't know. It's just kind of a fun. Eventually, it seems like you might come up with some kind of interesting or thought-provoking. So keep that in mind. Maybe just for entertainment, or maybe for looking for a real song title to work from. All right, let's move on. Co-writing resources. A lot of us have heard of Skype, a video conferencing tool. It's free to use at the basic level, and I believe there's paid memberships that allow for more functionality. The limitation I've found with Skype is that it allows for two-person calling, but you can't. If you're co-writing with more than one other person, then you're kind of in trouble. You can't really use Skype for video conferencing. You can still do audio conferencing for free, but it's got that limitation. I'm a big fan of Google products, and Google Hangout is their version of Skype. It's video conferencing, and you can have, I believe, up to 9 people at the same time, and I believe it's for free. Google Drive is the newest iteration of what used to be Google Documents, and this is really cool for songwriters because it allows you to co-write. You could be in the same room or across the country, around the world, whatever, and if you share this document with somebody else in real time, even though I'm on my computer, I can see when somebody else is typing into this document. So in real time, you can kind of both type on this same virtual document, and you can both see it. And so that's a great resource for long-distance co-writing. A couple of websites also keep in mind are Dropbox.com. Again, go to their website and kind of watch their video that they describe what they do better than I can in a couple of sentences. But I use it. You can use it for something like virtual server space. So if you have a large, say, Pro Tools session that you want to collaborate with, you can easily post it up on Dropbox and share it. You can also do things like Google Drive, where you can create a document or a whole folder and share that with somebody else who has Dropbox, and it will stay up to date. Whoever modifies that document, it will be reflected in the other person's computer as well. So Dropbox.com is a very helpful resource, and the basic account gives you 2 gigabytes of storage, and it's a super helpful resource. It also syncs to handheld devices like iPhones and things like that. WeTransfer.com is a website built by Sony, and you can send files that are as large as 2 gigabytes for free. I don't even think you have to sign up for a membership, but I might be wrong there. It's just a very simple interface where you just type in somebody's email address, and there's a file attachment button, and it's off. It's taken care of. So those can be helpful resources that I've used, especially with larger files. Let's get into some of the sonic resources. In the second video, I'll let you hear some of these. So I'm just going to kind of let you see the names. Easy Drummer I find to be super helpful for songwriters. It's easy to use, as the name implies. It's very inexpensive, and there are expansion packs available that give you different drum kit options. The second option, Addictive Drums, I discovered there's a free version of that only offers you a couple of sounds, but it's pretty impressive, and the drum sounds sound great, in my opinion, of Addictive Drums and Easy Drummer. And in most of our software and things like GarageBand, there's also native drum sounds and drum loops available, things like so you can just drag and drop and get a good starting place. Virtual drum loops can be helpful for a couple reasons. One is that, say you strum the guitar and you're just looking kind of for a different, I don't know, it gets tiresome after a while of strum. So sometimes pulling up a drum loop and jamming along with it can generate some new excitement, and can be inspiring. The second reason it can be good is, even if you don't play an instrument, that I've heard some people come in and to our songwriting gathering, and they will start singing a melody, or and they just don't have a concept of meter, and sometimes they'll accidentally compose melodies that go from 4/4 to 5/4 to whatever. So writing with a drum loop can be helpful for metric accountability as well. Finally, having drum loops can help you write up-tempo songs. It seems like the bigger challenge as a songwriter is to write a hooky, catchy, upbeat song. So having the drums play along with you I think can sometimes help toward that end. Some software instruments. I know we all write songs in different ways, and most people write from a title or from a lyrical concept, but I really look to sonic inspiration, and particularly the world of virtual instruments to kind of get me going. I tend to start with musical ideas and then to slowly start introducing lyrical content. And I know I'm in the minority in that respect, but no matter what way you write songs, these are great resources. In a lot of our software, there are built-in sonic resources, virtual instruments, loops, all kinds of things, no matter what DAW title. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. My go-to virtual instrument right now is Omnisphere from a company called Spectrasonics.net is their website. It's an expensive plugin. It costs, I don't know, $400, $500, something like that. But for what it comes with and the quality of sounds that come out, it's been well worth the money for me. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of this, especially if you write pop, or if you want to get into writing for movies or television. The Omnisphere is hard to beat. So amazing synth and strings, human voices, all kinds of things in Omnisphere. Though I do not own this next one, it's the next thing I would like to get. the Native Instruments Complete package. I would recommend you get the basic one and not the Ultimate. This one just comes with the instruments, and the Ultimate also adds things like compressors and EQs and things like that for another $300. So I just get the basic complete package. Comes with all kinds of sounds to work with. And this would work within a host software such as Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever software you work with. It kind of uses that as a host environment to play and record those virtual instruments. Same with Omnisphere. Arturia also makes some excellent plug-in instruments, virtual synthesizers. If you like analog synthesis, Arturia is one of the best at recreating some of the vintage Moog and other synthesizer sounds. Even though a lot of these are a little pricey, let's get into a couple of freebies. You can find a whole list of free virtual instruments and free other plugins on these websites, don'tcrack.com and kvraudio.com. But two I'd like to mention by name. One is Crystal, and the other is Alchemy. Now, if you go to YouTube and look for my name and look for free synths, and you'll hear and see these two. I did a demonstration of these two. So, all right. I think I'm getting toward the end here. Jamspace.com and Band in a Box. Let's see, these work in a similar way. Jamspace.com, you pay $4 a month. It is an internet website where you would put in your chord progression and you would designate the style and the instruments, and it would create a backing track for you, a basic backing track. So if you don't play a guitar, you could create a guitar track if you know what chords that person would be playing. So if you take a basic music theory course online or at a local college, or just ask some people what are the most common chord progressions, and you insert some of those progressions into something like the jamspace.com website, you'd start to make some music pretty quickly. Band in a Box is very similar. It's a software you purchase where you identify what chords you want it to play, what instruments, what style, what tempo, and it would generate a track for you. Fruity Loop Studio, GarageBand, and Ableton Live, these all have great libraries of loops and sounds that you can start to work with, even if you don't know what chords are going on. They would probably have some helpful information for you, helpful resources, sound resources. Also, there's nowhere else I can mention this in the studio, but I wanted to point out with Ableton Live that if you have a song and you're not sure of the song form, you're wrestling with the song form, or you want to try a couple different versions of courses or pre-courses, Ableton Live is able to let you mess around with the song form or versions of the song. And I don't know any other software that works the way it does, that you're able in real time to change up the song form. So it's wonderful in that respect. And I think their cheapest version is like $80, and that only gives you 4 tracks or something like that. But for what it does, it's wonderful. It's it gives you some flexibility that no other software does. So Ableton Live. I'll get into the video examples in the other video. A couple demo studios I want to mention. Azalea Studios. It's owned by Fett, who is often teaching at songu.com on some online classes. It's a nice, great studio. I've not worked with them, but I've heard good things. Second, Larry Baird Studio in Nashville. I have worked with him, and he did a great job with some projects I was working on. Number 3, Omni Sound Studios, again in Nashville. Wonderful place. Amazing stuff came out of there. The last thing I heard out of there that I was involved with. And the Nashville Demo Studio. Now, numbers 2 through, actually all 4 of these, the thing about working with a pro studio like these in a place like Nashville is that these studio musicians are always exposed to working with songwriters. So, in other words, they've often heard rough recordings, and they're able to kind of create amazing things with it. It's hard to put into words. These guys are very comfortable or familiar with working with songwriters, whereas if you live somewhere maybe like Dallas or I don't know, I'm just picking random cities, but in some other cities they're less familiar with working with a songwriter. If you just have a melody or something like that, that it might be a new experience for that particular studio to be dealing with your project. Whereas these guys are often in that position, and they have a great degree of expertise as well as that experience. So check them out. They can do full productions, or they can just do a guitar with a voice demo or a piano with a voice demo for a lot less money if that's what you're looking for. StudioPros.com is an online resource. Again, there's different packages, and if you're able to create your tracks at home and you just want a pro vocal, they can do that for you for about $100, I think, maybe $150. So that's worth checking out. Musicians collaborate. There's a couple of online websites where you would do labor exchanges. Maybe you play electric guitar and you're looking for somebody to play saxophone or something on your song, and then some of these websites offer those opportunities. I think indabamusic.com, which we mentioned earlier, also has that type of collaborative effort involved. So, all right, so that's pretty much all I have to share in this part of the video, and then I'll get into showing you some of these virtual instruments and stuff so you can hear what they sound like. But please take a minute to write down in the comments any virtual or any resources that you found to be helpful so that we can benefit from them. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you later.